global software as a service sector saw a cumulative valuation drop exceeding 300 billion. People are calling it a SaaSpocalypse. What a term.
Are we really seeing wiped out value of SaaS, or are we just seeing a correction to the normals? Wouldn't you guys agree with me if I said the great demise of the SaaS business model is also greatly exaggerated?
Someone told me they vibe coded Workday, and my immediately response is they have no idea what Workday does if they think they vibe coded Workday.
The announcement 6 months later of a Series B of a whopping 270 million, which puts Bedrock into the unicorn club, which is great for the industry. So congratulations. I think we should have a unicorn something, bell or something like that.
I like to think of LLMs as kind of book smart. You know, they've read every forum on Reddit. They've read every book that's ever been published. And that's amazing. And you get a lot of knowledge from that.
Stanford students are claiming disability in order to gain certain perks, advantages. People are being felt as if, hey, if you're not doing that, you're dumb. Universities should be the place where virtues are groomed in society. Unfortunately, this is grooming vices.
Software is officially dead, and there's a SaaSpocalypse happening right now. That's what we're going to speak about today. Also, there's a new unicorn in the industry, and the CTO of that new unicorn will be joining us in a little while. Anthropic and OpenAI are facing off on the world's biggest stage and in the most comical way. And we have some inside tricks onto how to game the US's most elite university. So, following on from this week's debate, that star of the show is here, Dustin, and the topic of that is saturating not just our industry but all other industries is about software and how AI is completely disrupting the boat. And so, with that, here is a little bit of a primer to this conversation. And I think what triggered me to want to talk about this even more was the fact that AEC Mag posted an article related to this. We covered the debate, and then I got tons of messages about how people love the discussion and what came up in there. So I thought we can go even further today, hear your thoughts again, and also, of course, hear Patric's thoughts and Martin's thoughts on the subject. So here we go. In the first week of February 2026, the global software as a service sector saw a cumulative valuation drop exceeding $300 billion. People are calling it a SaaSpocalypse. What a term. Enterprise leaders, including Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday, have hit 24-month lows as of February the 5th, and Intuit hit double-digit year-to-date drops. Thomson Reuters fell 18% in a single day. And apparently, there are two main catalysts for this particular drop in the market. OpenClaw, which we spoke about last week, which was Claudebot, then Maltbot, now OpenClaw, so change their name every week, which are AI agents that let people perform tasks across many applications, as we discussed, from their bed and via WhatsApp and whatnot. And then also Anthropic also announced this week the launch of their legal productivity suite, which obviously is a bit of a shock and threat to a number of companies that exist around the globe. But not everyone is saying that software is dead, so there's some more positive counter arguments. Dustin, I know you're a proponent of this side of the coin. A lot of people are saying it's not the end of software, just lazy software. And of course, there is the ongoing argument about how much software and whether AI can actually build enterprise-grade ready software and whether that's possible. Just a quick point on the AEC article. This is the kind of summary of the article here, but what they concluded was that traditional software vendors didn't sell outcomes in the AEC industry. They sold process, and they monetized by the friction of humans working together through tools. And as AI matures, that layer effectively gets extinguished and bypassed entirely. And then we had a debate on Tuesday, but let's not spoil that for people. They can go and check that out, but I'm sure we'll hear some of Dustin's points here. So, guys, what do you think? Let me open this up. And Patric, you give us your thoughts first.
We've been having fun with Figma in the pre-discussion, so let me actually build on that. Are we really seeing wiped out value of SaaS, or are we just seeing a correction to the normal? So when Figma IPO'd, it was 40 to 50 times revenue. Right now, it's 10 times revenue. That's how SaaS companies traditionally have been valued. So, I mean, wouldn't you guys agree with me if I said the great demise of the SaaS business model is also greatly exaggerated? To me, right now, all I can read is there's a correction back to what should be normal for a business with good stickiness, 80% gross margins, but perhaps not the 50% year-over-year growth anymore, etc. This is how traditionally we have always valued cloud-based software companies. So I struggle to see the demise in the stock-based price arguments that you were citing, Owen.
Who wants to respond?
I mean, on the Figma side, I think when it is what it is with the stock price, doesn't mean it's going back up, because what will be the catalyst for it to go back to these valuations? I don't know. But in general, I think more AI will generate more, will imply that we have more software, more people doing software, because it will be much easier. So I think there will be much more software than less software. So I wouldn't say that the argument that the software is dead is valid. And also, how do you present the AI? You present it through the software, right? You interact it through the kind of software, through UX. So I don't think this is a valid point that we have that of software. I think we might have a little bit death of old SaaS, which is huge valuations of like lots of SaaS products and all. Because I would believe that the price of the cost to generate reasonably good products will be going lower and lower, and the barrier to entry will be less to provide good outcomes.
Dustin, how about you?
Yeah, I think, and we did talk about this a little bit before. So I think that in reflecting on our conversation, more to requalify and to just recap what we kind of concluded, the user experience is going to change in how you interact with your systems of record. I think we all agree with that. Some software companies you interact with and they are your system of record, some are not. The ones that are not your system of record are particularly vulnerable today. On that call, I referenced a company called Tableau, which is a business intelligence tool that's a CRM bot. I think BI tools in and of themselves were never systems of record. And so all of those are much more susceptible to being replaced. Then you talk about companies like Workday. And it's funny because I was at an event last night. I was talking to a large family office, and a person was referencing, someone told me they vibe coded Workday. And my immediately response is, they have no idea what Workday does if they think they vibe coded Workday. So
probably like a day off ticket.
Yeah. Like people from the outside that their only experience is, I use this tool, only usually see maybe just the tip of the iceberg of what is actually supporting that software application. And so software companies, yes, I do think we need to get more on outcome, less on process. In fact, next week, Edify is holding a webinar where I'm talking about how do we shorten pre-construction. So not, which is an outcome. You want shorter time spent in pre-con because that's generally less time you're spending on things that are profitable for your business. So I think all of those things come together, but software is not dead. Whether you're an AI company, like Martin said, or you're a software company, so AI is going to be a tool in order to create these positive outcomes, but you're going to have software around whatever models you're using. You can't have one or without the other. And I used the analogy before, a lot of people like to classify things into buckets, and most things aren't binary, they're granular, and they are on a spectrum. So Apple is not just a hardware company. Apple has an operating system. It has applications. One of its biggest revenue streams is services. Go to their quarterly revenue, and it's services via the App Store. It's a huge software company. They have tens of thousands of software engineers. So I just think that the market is to Patric's credit, correcting. And that makes opportunities because markets never go, oh, you know what? The recorrection is this. They always overshoot. Just like when there's hype, they always go to the negative or go to the extreme. They don't recalibrate right to like the perfect equilibrium of where the stock should be. So I think there's opportunities. I think it's a bloodbath today. People don't know what to make of it. And, in a year, I think we'll be in a better position. Now, look, no one knows what the future holds. But I think that at the end of the day, if you solve a customer's problem, they're going to pay you for that solution. So everyone needs to be good at a business at solving problems. And if you're better than others, you're going to make money. And the ones that can't solve a problem aren't going to make money. And that's been for a long time. That's still true.
Patric, can you just re-explain? I missed your last point. You said it was something like a correction.
Again, using the Figma example, right? So Figma, when they IPO'd, was 40 to 50 forward. I think right now they're basically slightly below 10 forward revenue. And that's how a business like that, when it's not growing like absolute crazy on a foundational level, should actually be valued. So it's not that right now they're undervalued necessarily. Make up your own mind, but it could also be that perhaps previously we were just overvaluing software as a whole in the public. I mean, the private markets definitely, forget private markets. Private markets reward dreams, but I'm talking public markets and the realities there. So that's my point. Now, I will concede one point. Even relatively solid and more fundamentally priced software companies like Autodesk got hammered a lot in the last 4 to 6 weeks. So there is sort of, let's paint with a broad brush, kind of a correction happening. But, when the next Autodesk earnings come and people see the cash flows, that correction will go the other way around again. So all I'm saying, guys, is that based on the data that this article writer, sorry, Owen, I didn't quite catch the name, was using, we're seeing this big correction, ergo software is dead. Like that logical conclusion doesn't jump to me from that data. That's just a, reversion to the norm kind of a thing that I'm observing. Now, if you use other arguments to say why software perhaps is dead, that's another discussion. But using this kind of a data, I can't come to that conclusion.
Yeah, the selling has been indiscriminate. So it's not like, oh, you know what? Everyone is bear on SaaS companies and bull on AI companies. If that was true, shouldn't NVIDIA have doubled by now? Because everyone's just going to buy all their chips. Like, let's just go to the hyper maximum. And it's not. And then any company that supports them, like Oracle, has been smashed beyond all belief. But apparently Oracle's play to build out all this infrastructure on debt is no longer good. But if all these AI companies are going to take over the world, then we're going to need all of that. So there's contrarian bets taking place. And generally it's just a bear market where I think I read a stat that the hedge funds made $24 billion shorting the market in January. So amazing amount of short pressure out there. And we'll see.
Something I read that kept popping up time and time again was that investors are unsure where to park their capital in software or AI or whatnot. Is this something you're seeing, Patric?
Europe, brother. Park in Europe. That's that's actually where a lot of money has been invested in equities in the last year. So Europe and Asia are the big winners currently. And look, I know that this is, so for me, it's not a political argument. Take it for what you will. But one thing is clear. Capital hates instability if it is long-term bound. Capital loves volatility when it's traded. But wherever you move the capital for the long haul, you want stability. Right now, stability is en vogue again. It's an asset. And unfortunately, for some markets, the stability is not very high. Fortunately for Europe, the stability is extremely high. And all of a sudden, that's an advantage. So I'm not giving stock recommendations, but if you just watch the big money move, you actually see why European equities are performing so highly. It's not that they are fundamentally all of a sudden totally different. No, it's that the whole continent provides a lot of framework stability to invest in.
Dustin, I think you were touching on something. So when stock market goes down, people are obviously putting their money out these stocks. I don't know if you have any particular insight or read or researched the market. Where is this money now going? Presumably people are not just sitting on it; they're reinvesting it back into other stocks. So maybe an obvious one is hardware, like or the infrastructure behind the AI boom. Is this what you're seeing, or other places?
And also, I
Anyone
would
have any insight?
touch on the point what Patrick said. Would you agree that you see people in the US looking more on Europe?
I think Americans don't really think outside of the U.S. So no. If we're talking about the masses, if you're talking about institutional investment class, then yes, obviously. I think one of the theses I do have, and this is just kind of, is there's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, actually on some of these assets like crypto and Ethereum, as more in the white collar class is let go. I think they're a big holder. So you take all of the tech companies that have been laid off. Some people are going to have a hard time finding employment right now. And I think that's going to put a little pressure to liquidate some holdings. So that can also be going on. If I was laid off, I would liquidate out of a volatile market like today in order to hold in cash. And there's been substantial amounts of layoffs. So that also could have put some pressure on things because Americans have a lot of debt. We love our debt.
Martin, are you in the Epstein files? Is that why everything gets liquidated?
Am I in the Epstein? I think I was too young to be there, right? Oh no.
Martin, I have a feeling you've downloaded every Epstein file and just like reading through it all the time.
Yes. I honestly don't know what's going on in the world. I don't even look into LinkedIn.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid that discussion, to be honest. So,
no, the thing is, I was actually about to send you maybe 2 days ago a screenshot, but I said, okay, I'm not going to put rubbish. That I was going through iPhone's Sky News, I think, whatever they have on iPhone, and I think when you have on one page on the display 5 different news, 2 of them on 3 pages, 2 of them on every page were associated with Epstein. So, like, this was super relevant here in Europe or UK.
Yeah,
rightly so.
And because of it has a very strong royal connection, which is a huge part of the UK and the economy and what it's all about.
I just find the time correlation interesting. That's all.
One thing that Dustin, you sent Jensen Huang on this software argument. His quote was, "The notion that AI is somehow going to replace software companies is the most illogical thing in the world, and time will prove itself." So there's one argument. Also, how are you? I don't if you're what you're hearing from the market. Any of you about how people like software engineers and those that were typically writing code are now dealing with hiring or even writing the code for their own software with the advent of apps like some of the ones I mentioned already, and in particular Cool Code and Claude Bot and these kind of things. I did read an article written maybe by, I think he was the original director of product or for Google AI or Meta or one of the big companies, and he said that we've gone for a complete shift and things won't be the same, and he feels kind of sad about it, that like you'll never write software from scratch now. Are you seeing similar things? Anyone?
I don't think any software company. I'm not sure if my internet's having a little bit of issues, but you guys are a little spotty. Anyway, I don't think any software company is going to operate where you're not augmenting your engineers with Claude Code or one of the tools to help accelerate their ability to develop. But I spent a tremendous amount of time, actually. My lead software architect, we ran a half marathon this weekend together. We spent time after the half marathon philosophizing on everything because we couldn't move, like we were just so dead. So let's just talk about it. And he's like, listen, what these things do today, not saying they can't someday, but you could not build an enterprise company on just what they produce. And it really takes someone like me to build out the architecture, work with them, but they do complement our ability to work quickly. So but all of those get normalized. As everyone's using the same, like in the day of steroids, everyone hit home runs in baseball, right? And so like if you're all taking juice, it's an equal playing field. So everyone's just, juicing their engineers.
So the
now,
question is, do you take the juice?
Everyone has to take the juice. You got to take the juice. I mean it's now a doping league.
Dude, that could be a really nice Super Bowl ad for Anthropic. We're going to get into that, but
yes.
be Sammy Sosa of engineering. So, that's Anthropic Super Bowl ad. Nice. I mean, there's this meme that's been going on for years and years that a great software developer's keyboard, basically the keys that are completely worn down is Control C and V.
Yeah.
Whoever writes really code from the ground up anyways, whether it's cursor or post cursor. I don't think anyone ever met a lot of software engineers that would completely start from scratch and write every single line and every little letter in each line on their own. That's just not something how you've ever been efficient. Why would you want to do that? So in my mind, I don't think it has changed the software engineer's life in that way. So it has given superpowers or juice, to use Dustin's term, and to a very, very large degree. Certainly, I think it has also unlocked new capabilities or the access to new capabilities for software engineers, because even full stackers don't know everything. They're constantly learning, right? So I think that's pretty amazing if you think about it. But then there are also things where if you're an amateur, you still can't do. I mean, I saw a WhatsApp screenshot the other day in my Reddit feed where someone posted, "Hey man, I got the superpowers now. I vibe coded my new website in 10 minutes." And software engineer on the other side said, "Hey, can you show me?" And then basically pasted the path to desktop index HTML instead of pasting the website because they didn't know how to fucking install it, right? I mean, sure, all of that gets fixed, and I'll have AI in Webflow and whatever. But the point is, still, there's a lot of infrastructure that you need to master around it rather than just the coding.
I wonder if we will go through this phase of when GPT tools first came out and everyone was producing blogs and social media posts and everything using like GPT, and there was all these patterns that start to emerge and still do emerge with emojis and antithesis, and I think they call it the rule of three. Will we start seeing software where like you'll be able to glance at it instantly and be like, yep, that's AI generated, and it immediately, I don't know if it immediately, but it discredits people's perception of the quality of the software, because that is the case. And I say this because I think when these tools first came out in the like more content creation world, it's easy to speak with hindsight now because we've all seen it, but no one could see that at the time of that happening, of like these blatantly AI generated articles. I wonder if that would be the case for software.
Maybe. I mean, in a way, you already see that even with websites when you go into source code and someone bought a template, no? And then you would have the template comments in there. I don't think anyone would judge you for doing. I mean, sure, if it's like an enterprise company that raised 200 million and you still had like template comments in
WordPress content.
Yeah,
that's
maybe. There's a long way to get there.
Built with love. Cool. Kevin from Bedrock is due to join us in around about a minute. Excited to hear what is going on there. We had Kevin back on in August telling us about Bedrock. I can't remember what that round was when we had them on, whether it was seed
80.
or Series A. Huh? Oh, look, here's
80,
Kevin.
80 million.
80 million. Here he is. Let's get him in. Good to have you back.
Hey, doing well. Yeah,
Look at you smiling, man. It's a good time for you.
It's been a pretty good couple of months here. Yeah. How have you guys been?
So we had you back here. I was just explaining. Then you joined the waiting room. I was like, let him explain. But we had you back here in August, and at the time it was, Patric, you correct me, 80 million, right? And that was Series A, was it at the time?
Series A. Yeah, that's right.
And now we are 4, 5, 6 months later. I mean, well, the announcement 6 months later of a Series B of a whopping 270 million, which puts Bedrock into the unicorn club, which is great for the industry. So congratulations. I think we should have a
Thank you.
unicorn
Thank you.
something, bell or something like that.
Yeah, just a emoji flying by.
Can you just okay, maybe Kevin, you could recap because very briefly about Bedrock, and then tell us what's happened between August and between February. We're now in February, early February, and how this, why so much money, man?
Why so much money? Yeah, so Bedrock is automating heavy equipment, and we're starting with construction. So we've got a bunch of excavators out on customer sites. I think we were just starting that work when we talked to you. We have a number of other sites. We've finished one. We did 10% of a job for one of the GCs, about 70,000 cubic yards. So we've gotten these things out in the wild. The vision is to bring self-driving technology into the construction space so that we could build things faster, build the highways, data centers, power. Why so much money? It's a lot of work. We're training big models, and there are many, many different pieces that need to come together for us to build the system. It's not just a piece of software. A machine that's out there in the wild, the safety has to be extremely, extremely competent, and then all of the behaviors need to be there as well. And so it's an interesting problem. It's a kind of a complex team that you have to build to do that. There's a lot of data collection. There's a lot of hardware that we need to go out and purchase and roll things out. So the raise gives us a pretty good amount of runway. So that's part of the thinking. It was also opportunistic. Investor came in and said, "Hey, we're really excited about this," and CapG and Valor just love what we're doing. So very excited to have them on board.
So capital G, Google's, I don't want to butcher the description, but let's say PE team, growth PE, tech PE team. And at the same time, Sequoia does Waymo, 16 billion at 126. So what do the two of them have to do with each other?
They are not connected. We sort of heard that a great round was happening for Waymo. There's no direct connection. Of course, the indirect connection is robotics and autonomy. And we're at a point where the technology really works. So with Waymo, it's, they're launching, every couple of weeks, I see another few cities that are launching. Can't track it at this point. I can now get a ride to the San Francisco airport, which is something I couldn't do for a long time. Yeah. So we launched, our team helped launch the freeways, and now that's out in the public, and that's enabling all of that, which means that Waymo can go basically everywhere. So the connection to us is maybe that Waymo really focused on the safety side and getting large scale robotics out into the field. And that's now very functional. And you can see it, and they're scaling, and it just works. So for us, we're still early on in the journey. There's some differences. We're building these behaviors into the system. It's a tool. You have to talk to it. You have to tell an excavator what to do. Construction crews change their plans every day. That's very different than a car where you're going from A to B, and what you're going to encounter is complex traffic. That's very hard, but stable. And so some differences, but also some relationships between the two.
I'm just curious, which one's harder?
Which one's harder? I think they're different. I think they're fundamentally different problems. It's hard to describe one as harder or easier. I think the cars happened earlier because really Larry and Sergey fell in love with the problem, and they wanted to fund it. They thought it was important. Safety is important. And safety is really the problem. It's 99% of the problem. You can talk about the ML stuff all you want. It's important, but if you don't get safety right, first of all, you're going to save lives if you make the cars safe, and second of all, if you mess it up, you got a business, and there are several companies who've done that, and so that's really the problem. In construction, it really is this tool where the behaviors are interesting and the things that you're building are interesting. You have to be in, when we develop these systems, we work very closely with GCs. We launch the product with them, and we build, and they're telling us what they're doing. Literally twice a day, they'll come in and say, okay, do this, do this, do this. And they need to be able to talk to the machine. So things like LLMs are very important there. And of course, we care a ton about safety. Our machines need to be safe, but you have a more controlled site. And now we know how to solve that problem. And so we're on to the next problem, which is this manipulation task. And that's where all the robotics focus is going today. So I don't know which one's really harder, but definitely different. And, the technology focus, the lens that we take to these things follows a circuitous path. And now we're working on this one.
So, Kevin, which construction vehicle will be autonomous soonest?
We're starting with excavators. And then we'll do a second machine. We'll start working on that pretty soon. We haven't picked which machine yet. The idea of the architecture is that we can move from machine to machine very quickly. We turn it into a data problem. So we learn the behaviors and we build an engine that lets us onboard those behaviors quickly. And it doesn't really matter what vehicle we're doing. There are different considerations. Higher speed vehicles, you need to think about redundancy a little bit more. But start with excavators and very quickly move to a few other machines.
Last one from me is, what's the time scales?
Like when we're launching?
Yeah, when you will have fully automated excavators.
So we're trying to launch the first one in the next year, and then scale that up with our customers. And we already have them running on customer sites. We supervise them, of course, because we're still vetting the technology. But we're going fast. It's part of the reason people are excited about us.
Kevin, we have a lot of potential customers for you listening in. So maybe it would be quite interesting for them to also hear, like from the customer perspective, what's an ideal customer for you in the next 1 to 2 years? Like size, project size, how do I have to organize? Like who's ideal for Bedrock at this stage?
And geography.
Geography. So we're in a lot of geos in the US. We're in 10 different geos. So, and we're expanding those. So as long as it's in the United States, we're excited to work with customers. We're doing a lot of mass excavation right now. So any job where there's a lot of movement of dirt, loading trucks. With the typical projects that we're on right now are data centers, factories, roads, highways, and the thing we're most interested in at the moment is excavation. So anywhere where there's critical path goes through excavation and then moves on to the next phases. Those are the jobs where we're working pretty well right now.
Is the amount of volume that I need to move a factor for you right now?
Mostly because of interest, we're focused on larger jobs, but hundreds of thousands to millions of cubic yards, which a million cubic yards is a giant job. We've done things on order of 100,000 cubic yards.
I think that's a great profile.
Is this completely autonomous today, or do you have a co-pilot like Waymo started with people just sitting in the wheel, or have you exited that phase?
We're supervised is what we call it. So there's a person sitting in the cab, and it'll transition pretty soon here to fully driverless.
Well, hey, Kevin, what's your view on building a team? Are you hiring people from what makes it you'd hire, utilizing outsiders, people that have worked maybe in more general industries outside of construction versus people that have the expertise in construction, both from like a commercialization perspective, like getting these things rolled out into jobs, and also from like software, hardware, engineering perspective?
So commercialization team for the next 4 or 5 months, we're probably not growing a whole lot. We've got a fantastic commercialization team. Once we get into a little bit more of a scaling mode, which might be like 6 to 9 months out, we'll be looking for people who know construction. There's a sales side, business development, things like that. And you really have to know the industry to do that work. We do have a few people from the industry there. And then we have operations. So we basically run our test site's basically a construction site. So we have operators on site. We think a lot about safety, and then we're going to customers and talking to them about the jobs that they're doing. We need to understand those. So we have people, sort of a handful of people there from the industry that we're looking for. So yeah, if we're really looking for people who have a lot of experience, maybe 20 years of experience working in the field, who've seen every aspect of the job. And there's some really fantastic people that we brought on board who had that kind of experience. If you're out there listening and you're curious, reach out. We're definitely interested in fantastic people.
Does anyone have any more? Otherwise, I have a couple more we could.
Yeah, I have a lightweight one. So the arm going to look slightly differently than currently, cat excavators or the other ones. I'm just wondering if the fact that you will be making it autonomous, is it going to change the way it looks to a certain level?
That's a fantastic question. I think in the short term, we want to be on the machines that are out there. And so we don't want to change anything. There's big business reasons. It's really hard to build a new machine. We're not really interested in doing that. We want to build software. I think in the long term, you don't need a cab. That changes the weight of the machine, the weight distribution. If you look at an excavator, the arm is actually kind of offset, and that's hard to manage. So there's things like that will change.
I've been looking at your category, right? And so built Robotics, founded 2015, raised over 100, moved also slightly outside of the space. And I think that, that was also a different time. I think very, very challenging problem to begin with, but also technology around the company at the time perhaps was different than it was today. Okay, then Safe AI, Vibra G, 2017, raised 70 million. Pronto acquired them. And there's Pronto, Anthony Lewandowski's firm, raised, I actually don't know if it's public. My guess is in north of 100, but I don't know. Brought in the Safe AI team. Then in Europe, also there were in 2022, there's Gravis Robotics from Switzerland, raised somehow 30. SenseMore in Munich, maybe 10, but the company's relatively young. And then you guys came out in 2024. Chinese companies, I'm leaving those out. Then Caterpillar has their program, etc. So here's my question. Not why are you excited about it? I can completely get it. But why are VCs backing all these different companies rather than concentrating capital into one winner? What do you think?
Well, I think probably they started to concentrate all their capital into one winner. I won't say who that is, but you listed a bunch of companies over. I think Built started in 2017. I know Noah. He went through an incubator that my last company went through. If AI guys started on trucks, and that was, I want to say 2019. And then Pronto started maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So there's this, people have seen, the VCs have seen that this is an interesting space. They're very excited about it. The business is pretty obvious. The technology really hasn't been here. And frankly, I think most of the very, very good roboticists out there have been focused on cars for 15, 20 years. And so, that's where the talent was going. I don't think we could do this without the kinds of things that we have today with LLMs. And so anybody that started 10 years ago, great idea, great heart, wrong timing. And so, it's kind of the story. If you look at delivery, for instance, there was Webvan and then there was like DoorDash and Postmates and Uber Eats, and Webvan famously failed.
Oh, I love that reference, man. People forget Webvan.
Yeah,
Never heard of it till then.
same thing, right? So that's what we're seeing. And now it's the time for robotics and AI. And it's just transformed. The last 3 years have transformed. Technology has transformed. Our understanding of how to do safety, really from Waymo. And if you look at, other companies like Tesla, it doesn't seem like Tesla's really figured out that dimension yet. The ML side has come a long way. And so if you asked me 3 years ago if this was possible, I'd say maybe not. And 2 years ago, we decided there was, and still had some work to do. And now it's just going like crazy. So timing is absolutely everything.
Amazing answer. All I heard you say is now capital is going to concentrate.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
I love it.
I got one more if
Cool.
I can.
I have a few more minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that a lot of capital will go into building your own models. I guess maybe you can explain why building your own model is important for you, and also what will be defining the winners in this category.
So first of all, we do leverage off-the-shelf models, pre-trained models, perception models, things like that. There's great work out there that's open source and closed source that you can fine tune and partner and build these things. Video models are unbelievably expensive to train. And so we're not talking about those kinds of things. There's a gap between, I like to think of LLMs as kind of book smart. They've read every forum on Reddit. They've read every book that's ever been published. And that's amazing. And you get a lot of knowledge from that. But when you get out in the field and something like construction, and really I think it's true like in many, many domains, but you get out in construction, it's not in the book. And you think about what people do with excavators, picking up a pipe and there's a person pushing back on that pipe and you want to make sure you don't knock them over. That kind of behavior doesn't exist in the data sets that are out there. And so we have to collect that data. We have to figure out all of the reasoning steps. We're going to leverage a lot of things that are there, but then this connection between the book smart and on the ground intelligence needs to be built out. And so we're building those models. Who's going to win here? Like, what's the interesting thing to build? I think the intelligence of the machine is table stakes. Safety is, I said that safety was a bigger thing for Waymo. And what I mean there is that it's hard, but here it's unbelievably important. Like if you do safety wrong, That's it. You're done. And it's very easy to mess that up. So you have to be safe. And then the user interface just has to be this beautiful thing. It just needs to be, like you radio the machine, you call it, you text it. There's probably, we're working on a user interface that looks a little bit more like a video game. So it's in the cloud, and you can manage multiple machines and tell them what to do at a mission level. And you probably want to be able to like prompt the machine and say, today you're going fast, just strip all the dirt. Tomorrow you're being precise, and this is what that looks like. And so that just has to be unbelievably intuitive. It's got to drop in, you turn the thing on, and it goes. And that's really, really hard to do. So we do spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Yeah, very cool. The missing piece is you need to integrate with a Claude bot so people can operate it from their beds via WhatsApp.
Yes. Or maybe not. I don't know. Terrifying.
My advice is free.
And also exciting.
Kevin,
Well-
I loved your analogy. The LLMs are book smart. They're not street smart. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Can I steal that and use it once in a while?
Please.
I will give you credit
Absolutely.
every time. I will not say I came up with it. I will not rip you off.
Let's go. This is great. Yeah.
Are you in the Bay?
Let's
Are you
build
guys
some-
headquartered in the Bay?
We are. Yeah, we're downtown in San Francisco.
Oh, I got to come by and see some of this. This is too cool.
Come on out.
Yeah,
we have a test
I got to
site.
come by.
We have a test site a little bit north of San Francisco, and then we're testing in Austin as well. But yeah,
Awesome.
stop by. We'd love to have you.
Okay. Patrick, Martin, we jump on the plane tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah,
Heathrow.
whichever.
You're welcome. Do it.
All right, Kevin. Thank you so
great
much,
stuff,
man.
Really,
Congrats.
and also, I think great inspiration for other founders in our category.
Yeah,
Amazing stuff.
love it. Super
Thank you.
exciting.
Yeah, and it's fun to see you guys again and be back. This is a pleasure.
Yeah, see you in 6 months for Series C, yeah?
Absolutely.
All
Knock
right,
on
dude.
wood. All right, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care, Kevin. Okay, bear with me. Oh, there we go. Done in the on.
Good to
Very
see him again.
cool.
Pretty impressive.
I love it. Yeah.
How often do you come across, Patrick, around being construction of that amount?
Of that amount, as a B, I want to say never. I think infra markets B was probably, I have to go back, but my guess is somewhere between 100 to 150. So even infra market wasn't this. Equipment share, I would have to go back, but my guess is also same size, maybe triple digit million.
Hmm.
I think this might be within construction tech the largest B ever. Dustin, what do you think?
You muted.
Oh, you're somehow muted. Sorry.
I can't. Nothing even close.
Mm.
There's nothing. I mean, this is the reason why this B has to be so substantially large is he's doing some hardware plays, and then those generally end up being a lot more money. I'm curious. I should have asked him what's the relationship with the excavator companies, because they're trying to compete. If there is any sort of relationship, can they do a licensing deal with some of them?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin was saying that they're going for retrofit right now.
Yeah.
Not so. Yeah, my guess is right now, let's keep the relationships at bay. But I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's sort of my interpretation.
Very cool. Okay.
So natural exit for
Brilliant.
them would be what? To sell to
Edify.
one.
Edify buys them.
Edify buys them.
Love
So
it.
Edify owns the pre-construction phase and then slowly chips away at the
I mean, look,
post-construction phase, yeah? Like
Look,
starting with
I don't wanna-
excavation.
Yeah, I don't want to be called by you guys out. What are you smoking? But it is interesting that Google is a large shareholder in both Waymo and Bedrock now.
Why?
that-
Why?
that's-
Why?
why is that
I don't
interesting?
see it. Yeah, come on.
Why is that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, look, Google is still the largest shareholder in Waymo, as far as I can see. And this is an ex-Waymo team. Capital G is leading this race. There's certainly, let's say, a parent angle between both companies that I find interesting. It could also be completely just from what Capital G is supposed to do, financial investment interest, but Google also has strategic interests. So maybe there's optionality there for Bedrock down the line. Who knows? Other than that, this is not something. So the amount that they raised, and probably with that you're setting now another mark for how much you're going to have to raise. If you're successful, you will have raised in the end billions. It's just the trajectory you're putting yourselves on right now, unless something completely unforeseen happens. At that amount of capital, it's not necessarily an acquisition target by an equipment manufacturer, because even Caterpillar, as one of the largest ones, that would probably make the largest acquisition that Caterpillar has ever made by the time that perhaps that absorption becomes interesting for Bedrock. So,
but on the other hand, on this point, I obviously don't know what's the book for Caterpillar, what they bought previously, but this seems like something very, 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 very significant in terms of...
Yeah, but Caterpillar has internal R&D programs on this for many years. So don't underestimate Caterpillar. I'm not saying they have the Waymo talent. And I get Kevin's points also about, hey, look, I mean, a lot of the key talent actually went into automotive before we went here. I thought that was a really interesting point. But I think Caterpillar is no slouch in this space either. There are certain assets, be it distribution, be it installed base, that Caterpillar can throw around as well. Can they figure out the technology? I have
well,
no
also
insight
not
there,
requiring a retrofit. They can pre-build this as part of their manufacturing process.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that Capital G, I think it was back Google Ventures, led around for Uber. I think they did 275 million at like a $2.7 billion valuation. Very early on. Yes. So Capital G does operate as a financial institution to make money. So they're not afraid to write checks into what will naturally be competitive spaces.
I know we spoke about CES a few weeks ago, but the Caterpillar did at CES 2026 announce their next era of autonomy, where they spotlighted 5 of their autonomous machines and announced some collaboration with NVIDIA to onboard AI agents across their entire portfolio. So they're
I mean, the truth about a
space.
company like this, though, if you don't capitalize them effectively, then you're just burning money away. Because Caterpillar can capitalize themselves very effectively. So you need to put a lot of money in to give it a viable chance. Otherwise, it's not even like 20 million. I can see it not even moving the needle or the dial for what they want to do. So you really have to put a lot of capital into businesses like this.
Guys, Dustin, were you still speaking? I think he froze. 15 minutes left. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun in this last 15 minutes or so. I'd be very interested in people's views on the death of software, by the way, and also on Bedrock's raise. I think it's a very great signal for the industry moving forward. And we've had a very exciting start to the year. I felt like January was very good. Last week was a little bit quiet, and then now the excitement's back. So let's keep going.
I'm sorry.
And let's make it even more exciting for people. So next up, let's see this quickly. So there's a bit of a beef going on between Anthropic and OpenAI, and OpenAI recently announced that they were going to launch sponsored content into users who are using the free tier or this lower tier. I think it's like the $8 a month tier or something like that. And Anthropic said they would never introduce advertisements or sponsored content within Claude. And
never.
so
They said never?
it said Anthropic said it will remain permanently free of ads. So they didn't say never, but it's permanently free, whatever that means.
No, permanently free
that's a long
means
time
never.
frame.
That means never.
And to respond, it generated the Super Bowl's on Sunday, right? Oh, Patric, you'll be very happy as your team, Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots. So it'll be a late night for you on Sunday.
Yep.
And you'll be watching. I feel you're just staying to watch the ad, but I can show you it now, so you can alleviate yourself of having to watch the full thing. I'll share screen, and we can see Anthropic's mockery of OpenAI's initiative. So let me share this. Bear with me 2 secs. Okay, if I push play and you can't hear, then just put your hand up or something. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
How do I communicate better with my mom?
Great question. Improved communication with your mom can bring you closer. Here are some techniques you can try. Start by listening. Really hear what she's trying to say underneath her words. Build conversation from points of agreement. Find a connection through shared activity, perhaps a nature walk. Or if the relationship can't be fixed, find emotional connection with other older women on Golden Encounters, the mature dating site that connects sensitive cubs with roaring cougars.
What?
Would you like me to create your profile?
So first of all, can we just acknowledge how awesome the overplayed acting here on her part is? Like, I mean, this is, oh wow,
She's an LLM,
very
right?
robotic.
But there's 4 ads in this series. I would highly recommend people go and watch them all. They're all brilliant. And what an absolute masterstroke from the marketing team at Anthropic. I've just...
So
I'm
can
in
you
awe.
explain what these ads are going to be about? Is it kind of like when you Google something?
Well, you
then
just saw it, right? If you're having relationship struggles with your mom, it's going to recommend you go to a cougar
No, but
site
that was
instead.
the open flank, right? So because OpenAI had not clarified how it would actually work, Anthropic saw a window here to just inject themselves into the conversation and influence the users, sort of
Yeah.
painting a picture what it might be. So that was a real faux pas on the let's say product and communications team of OpenAI, leaving that flank open. Anthropic brilliantly exploited. Brilliantly, I have to say.
Yeah, I agree.
I love it. I think Anthropic are just winning on every corner at the moment.
Looking forward to the Super Bowl ads, man.
Who else? Do we know any of the other ads apart from Anthropic? Is it like something that goes public before you see them? Or
Not the big
Oh, I
ones,
think
Dustin.
yeah, they're going to hold some that have not gone public.
shall
I'm
we?
hoping for from Peyton Manning, some self-deprecating Peyton Manning ads.
Shall we look at Sam Altman's response?
Sure. What do you say?
Well, in summary, he didn't like it. He did not like this mockery.
Oh, poor
and
Sam.
like
every sentence is weird. I think.
yeah, like I just don't. Yeah, that is humor, right? He did say they are funny, and he laughed. But why would Anthropic go for something so clearly dishonest? I mean, it's a very long post.
Coming from the man that is clearly dishonest about like markets and everything.
Not for profit.
Not for profit.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the first thing that comes to. Yeah.
Anthropic wants to, this is in his post, Anthropic wants to control what people do with AI. They block companies that don't like from using their coding product, including us. They want to write the rules themselves for what people can and can't use AI for. And now they also want to tell other companies what their business models can be.
I like this one. More importantly, we believe everyone deserves to use AI and are committed to free access because we believe access creates agency, says someone who charges $200 per month for access to a premium product.
Yeah. Fun.
I mean, okay, so dishonest or not, whatever. I don't get the dishonest part here. Like, sorry, you're painting a picture of what it could look like, and you're probably wanting to let the users think, hey, that's
not dishonest, it's comedy.
Yeah. I don't see why dishonest is warranted.
It's hyperbolic, it's satire, it's anyone who takes it as seriously how they're going to execute it is just an idiot, right? So if you can't take it, if you know it's not intended to be serious, then it can't be dishonest.
But to be fair, Dustin, it could actually be one way how you would implement this. You know, it's not totally absurd how they've shown it. Not completely.
That's fair. Hey, what are the best software companies to use for this? Oh, the one that pays us the most.
Yeah.
Well, I never came across such a stupid stuff that I'll be given by any AI I've used. Like if you search for something, you don't the search that comes back, the responses that come back, they don't go from the ways you can remediate your relationship with your mom to like dating cougars or apps for something. There's never
roaring cougars.
Roaring cougars. Sorry, yes, roaring cougars. So I've never, it doesn't go that far from what you're searching for, what you are trying to accomplish with AI. So it's obviously parabolic and funny.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Stanford University. How do you get in, guys?
Never thought about
Who
it.
wants to lead this one? Because I know that you, Patric and Dustin, I think Patric, you posted the article. So
And there's the article that basically, help me out, guys, on the numbers. Was it 40% of Stanford students are claiming
38%.
disability?
38.
38%
Yeah.
are claiming disability in order to gain certain perks, advantages on campus. Of course, these 38%, and that's what the article also clearly states, are not technically having disabilities. So there's actually a very grifting and dishonest part about this. And the article also suggests that, hey, this is something that basically is groomed in the community among students. People are being felt as if, hey, if you're not doing that, you're dumb, you're not smart enough for Stanford. Life is a constant hustle and you have to make it work for you. I will just say this, and then maybe you can make me say other things later. But I have a very serious problem with this. Universities should be the place where virtues are groomed in society. Unfortunately, this is grooming vices, and it's not the first time at this specific alma mater. I remember clearly 2 years ago when Eric Schmidt was invited to a Stanford lecture, and the professor was completely enabling Eric Schmidt when Eric was saying on the record, being videotaped, the message was, guys, just go out there, steal everyone's data for your company, and by the time you're big, they can sue you and you can just basically win the lawsuit, etc. I'm not making this up. Look up online. The video is still online. You can still find it. It's the same alma mater. If I see that 3 times, it's a pattern. Okay? So that's true. For me, universities should be where virtues are bred. That's what society has for hundreds of years relied upon. And virtues come from other places. They come from families. They come from communities. But universities have that job as well. This is breeding vices. And I have a real problem with this. I don't like it at all.
Well, what is the disability? I'm just reading this, and it says that it can be, in this case, ADD or anxiety. Yeah.
well,
Anxiety.
there's a few. I've got the 3 here, which some of them are actually like fairly comical. So there's the kind of buckets it into 3 things. Students can obtain diagnosis for ADHD or anxiety, receive double time on exams, excused absences or exemptions from class participation. Students can claim social anxiety or night terrors to secure single occupancy dorm rooms, avoiding the standard and often cramped shared housing, or to avoid Stanford's mandatory $8,000 annual meal plan. Students reportedly claim to be devout followers of Jainism, a religion with strict dietary restrictions the cafeteria cannot always meet. This allows them to get a refund or exemption to spend the money at places like Whole Foods.
So many thoughts. Okay. This isn't, I'm not going to classify everyone that goes to Stanford or Ivy League schools like this, but there is a tendency, because of how these schools, you get access to these schools. There's like several cohorts that come from different paths. There's the athletic or extracurricular cohorts that get school full ride scholarships. They come from all different walks of life. So whether you're sports or you're part of the band and you get a scholarship, those people probably have a really strong work ethic. There's the people that families were able to send them to private schools, had a clear path, and access points tend to be legacy and tend to get a very easy path in there and feel very entitled. I suspect if you were to look at that cohort, a disproportionate amount are claiming status like this because they can't believe they can't compete in the open market of Stanford, and probably feel like the only reason that they're losing out is because of something like this. The other cohort is the exceptions that, Ivy League schools and Stanford definitely participates in, which is we need to diversify our campus, which whatever your opinion is just saying this is what's done, is that we will make exceptions based upon apparent struggles to allow you in. I'm not talking about what those struggles are. And my belief is the further you move away from meritocracy to subjectivity, you get people that believe that we need more instruments in society to further us away from meritocracy to subjectivity. And that is a never-ending death spiral. Because once we're subjective and we're trying to put our thumb on the scale of what great is, when you account for equity, it just becomes fraught with bullshit. We're never going to live in a utopia. And I think people need to get over that. Me and my co-founder, Jesse, at Building Connected, we had to stick up our ass all the time because we'd meet people from Stanford or Ivy League schools, and they'd have a level of arrogance. I can tell you I've met very few people in my life that I would rank higher on IQ, EQ, or the ability to lead and inspire people than Jesse and myself. Yet we could never, there was no way I could have got in from Stanford coming from Vacaville, California. It's just not a viable path. I mean, and I was ASB president, varsity of 3 sports, salutatorian, checked all the boxes. It just wasn't going to get accepted. So it's just a weird environment, but Stanford alumni support Stanford alumni, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see them get into the best venture capital funds. They get to start as an associate, and it is a path to a very wealthy life that breeds entitlement because they didn't actually work that hard. Some of them worked very hard. Some of them absolutely deserve everything they said. But there is definitely a huge cohort that life was a silver platter and they act like a spoiled brat. And I've met many of those people in my life. People might get all upset I said that, but it's true. And
Yeah, amen.
I've had people from Stanford and Harvard, and they've all admitted it, but there's great ones too. So don't say that I'm saying everyone is bad. It's not like that.
So nearly all of the 38% fall into a Gen Z demographic born between 1997 and 2012. I think these people are just in the defense of them being, what was it, ADHD or with anxiety, and most of people born this time between 97 and 2012 are pretty much born with the mobile with their hands straight away. So I wouldn't be surprised that the percentage of people in schools right now, this is actually what I hear from my family and friends back in Poland, that kids right now at school, they've been given so much of privileges, and if they say that they don't want to do something, they are being excused because they are considered as ADHD kids or something like that. So I think it's actually a phenomenon that is all around the world that is happening, that for these younger generations, they get to be excused for being ADHD, having ADHD or feeling anxiety. So yeah, it's not good, I guess, but I think that's the generation we are dealing with, generations we will be dealing with.
And I think, Martin, look, I find dishonest individuals in every part of society. I find honest ones in every part of society and everywhere. So for me, my issue with this is not any specific individual or group of individuals, etc. Especially not, when I was 18, I'm pretty sure if I look back, choices or decisions that I made, I would also like to perhaps now would do it differently. I think everyone deserves the right to also grow into life and to be allowed to become the personality that they want to be. And that doesn't end, when you leave home and you're 18. So for me, at least, that is something, of course, everyone is accountable for decisions and et cetera. But to me, that's really not the thing that rubs me the wrong way. It's that the platform enables it. And that for me is a real problem. University should be one of the platforms where virtues in society are groomed. And I think this is failing it. I think this is grooming vices. And that's not okay for me.
But we see this across society today. It's like, rather than everyone struggles, I have personal struggles and I'm happy to actually share some of those. maybe another topic, but we all have inherent deficiencies, and we should enforce self-improvement, not give people crutches to continue to propagate and not work on these deficiencies. And that's a different mindset than I see is mainstream for the most part. And yes, like Patrick, I have many things I did when I was younger that I'm embarrassed of, that I'm sorry for, that I've apologized to people for. But some of those struggles have made me a person that I'm proud to be today. And I think people don't realize that through adversity, you can become a better individual. And I wish more people would realize that those are learning experiences. And if you never get to go through the adversity, it's really hard to make personal improvements. That's just a
learning
personal
experiences rather than excuses. Or creating access to something.
Like, no, there's consequences to your actions.
Okay. Feels like a very...
I feel like I'm going to get messages that Dustin's something after that.
sad way to end the episode. Shall we try and lift the spirit? Super Bowl predictions, as we discussed it earlier. Who are we going for? I'm going to go Patriots.
48-0 Hawks, brother.
Oh, okay, I'm going to write this down.
May
Dustin?
carried my fantasy team, so I'd like him to win. I think the Hawks are going to win.
Score?
In Levi Stadium, by the way.
Score, relatively low scoring. Call it 24-10.
Ooh. I'm going to go 7-3 Patriots. Can you even get a 3? 7-2. 3? The one Super Bowl I watched in my life was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I think there was one touchdown. It was, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it was an awful experience for me. Martin?
I never ever watched Super Bowl. I don't think I will, apart from the break when their concerts being played. So
Okay.
I'll go with what you guys say.
Okay, great way to sit on the fence. Good job. All right, guys.
Do we want to make
so
a prop bet prediction? Coin toss, head or tails?
Tails.
Ooh. Do they reveal that?
You can literally bet on that. You can bet on
Really?
anything.
They reveal it? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, you're better on gambler. I'm not. So I did not know that. Well, I don't know. Give me a head. So.
First play of the game. It's going to be a run. 100%. Run.
Oh, you can bet.
I'll give someone 2-1 odds if they want to take pass.
Which quarter has the first interception?
3. Color of the Gatorade.
May's going to throw an interception.
Gatorade pour.
It'll be Q2.
Yeah, although our safety has an ankle issue since yesterday. So let's see. I'll also say Q3. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Time out.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Books and Bytes.